Okay, this is the final build review of the 1/16 scale I Kit M4A1 Sherman. Overall, the build went well, but if I was to have a pretty big gripe about it, it's that for a 1/16 scale tank and for its price point, I would expect a little bit more detail. And one of the main issues is the lack of tie downs and straps for all the Pioneer tools. There's one for the shovel back there, pickaxe handle, pry bar, pickaxe, axe, all those needed tie downs and straps, and then the tie downs for the back of the turret. I was able to source those from the spare parts bin, from the Stewart build from Classy Hobby that I did a while back. So really, those should have been there. The next thing is the lack of casting numbers on this tank. They're on the suspension, right? You can see them right there, casting numbers. But there's nothing on the transmission cover, nothing on the hull, which I think there should be like casting marks right there. Nothing on the turret. Now, on the split commander's hatch, there's some numbers there that you can see, but nothing else. Also, what I would like to see is just give me painting masks. You know, I had one, I painted the star on the turret roof, which was no big deal, but it wasn't the same size as what goes on the rest of the tank. So these are kit decals, and this big decal here on the rear deck, as soon as that thing started to slide off the backing paper, it wanted to curl up on me. So about 0.5 seconds of it coming off, it was already jacked. So it was unusable, and I had to steal this one from the M4A1 76 kit. So take your time with the decals. They're surprisingly thin for as thick as the carrier paper is. So it was a little bit misleading because I thought they would be almost like super thick, but they're not. The casting on the turret and the hull is complete garbage. You need to sand that back down and tone it down with some Mr. Surfer Surf 500, like almost straight out of the bottle, to tone that texture down. Because every source I've used, book, online, American tanks, that casting texture looked nothing like what's in the photos. Even period photos, they didn't look anything like that. So yeah, with the price point and it being a 1/16 scale, I just felt that it should have had a little bit more detail added to it. But overall, it came out, it looks like a Sherman. So, you know, it's not so bad. Looking at the instructions, I started this on the 8th of September and I finished up on 27 October. Some notes that I wrote down. It's definitely got to paint all these suspension parts on the sprue and be sure to paint the inside, which I think I've covered before. And on the return roller, there's some injector pins. Be sure to sand those. No issues here. Oh, pet peeve of mine, this is even in the Trumpeter T34 kit I'm building now. Why is this upside down? That just blows my mind. Who builds something upside down? Part F2. These can be very fragile cutting off the sprue, so be careful with those, and you shouldn't have any problem. But if you do, you can still go with the round air cleaners and be good to go. On this little, I guess this is like a mud shield that goes right there, kind of protects the air cleaners. 4 big huge ejector pin holes right there. You got to sand out and fill. They'll still be somewhat visible, so take the time and remove those. Injector pins here on the idler wheel you got to take care of. When you build the mufflers up there, you might want to weather them a little bit before you glue them in, because they'll be hard to get to later. That's no issues there. Oh, I had to make 79 per side, not 78. No problems with the whole machine gun. You're definitely not using part Q4, because that is for the M4A1 76. But this part M10 you'll use for either the narrow gun shield or the wide gun shield. No problems with periscopes. Oh, the sand skirts, the holes I drilled those out with a .75 drill. This hole here on the hull, I don't know, didn't use it, so it had to be filled. So if you're building this, it's not for gluing down any of the Pioneer tools or anything. It's just a random hole that needs filled, I guess. So you got to fill that. I would recommend closing these periscopes, these front 2 right here, not really needed. To glue on the side armor here, 1.45 or 1.5 drill, no issues there. No issues with the gun travel lock. Yeah, paint the silver and behind the lenses before you glue those on, and mask them. Pioneer tools, like I said, you're going to have to make your own straps and tie downs. Right here, okay, these little fender filler parts right here on the outside where they're seen, massive ejector pin holes to fill. Nothing on the back side that you can't see hardly at all, but where you can see, which is going to be right there on the model, right there. Yeah, you got to fill those. No problem with here. Oh, measure your tow cable and cut it to length. Mine was longer than 350 millimeters. I had to cut like 15-20 millimeters off, something like that. Yeah, no issues with that. No issues with the turret, but I will show you this. This is what your gun glues into. So there's no like counterbalance with the breech if you had like the metal barrel. So I don't know if over time maybe that friction will just constantly droop all the time. So that's why I went with the plastic barrel. That seemed a little hokey. And another reason why this thing shouldn't cost as much as it does. Yeah, plastic barrel, that's what I went with. No problems there. Building the 50, didn't use it. Went with the 30 cal. No issues with that. Yeah, no problems here. Yeah, once again, this narrow gun shield with this never happened. So this is really what I guess would be the late, with the armor on the sides, wide gun mantlet, split hatch, and narrow gun mantlet, and this cupola didn't exist. So yeah, not too many problems. Yeah, it came out decent. Nothing too crazy. I just wish that it had better detail out of the box. Unfortunately, it doesn't. So now that I know that, when I do get around to building a 76mm gun version of this, I kind of know what I'm getting into. But yeah, there you go. Hope you enjoyed the review. Like I said, it took me about 6 weeks, from start to finish. And not a complicated build. It just seems like it's a scaled up 1/35th kit into 1/16th. And there it is. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the final build review, and if you think about it, give a like and a comment at the bottom. Thanks.